So a little bit of background on the study. We conducted 164 interviews. This is a nationally representative sample of both TFA alumni and current core members. Earlier findings, and I share this just because this gives a little bit of an analytic context for where we were headed in our study to begin with, or where our study sort of began. What we already found through our study is that the TFA engages, as an organization, engages in certain types of messaging with its core members. And they frame the causes of inequality primarily as managerial, bureaucratic problems that are in need of innovative, market-oriented solutions. Think back to Mintrom's definition of policy entrepreneurs. And we've also found that the majority of the alumni in our sample are now working in market-oriented incentivist policy reform settings. And how does that happen? How do so many of them go through the organization and then pursue a very similar career path in the end? And we refer to these career paths as remaining within the TFA ideological echo chamber, right? So CMOs, charter management organizations, corporate-funded reform agencies, for example. Okay. So this is what we were already finding through initial qualitative data analysis. And we did this through conventional iterative coding. But that only got us so far. Right? We had a large sample. We had 117 alumni, which I'll focus on today, not the current core members. We had 117 alumni. How do you tease out the specific conditions that are leading them to work in fairly similar agencies when they finish their 2-year commitment or just at different stages in their career? So we asked a couple of questions, and today I'm only going to focus on one question and one answer to it, so you can see how we used QCA. So here we asked, what are the specific combinations of factors that lead TFA alumni to support and promote incentivist policies or reforms? Now we also asked what the specific combinations of factors are that lead the alumni to actually work as policy entrepreneurs, to accept a specific job that would count as a policy entrepreneur. But today I'm just looking at I'll share with you the combinations of factors or conditions that lead them to support these types of policies. So we carried out QCA with this data set. The cases we used were the alumni cases. So we had 117 cases of alumni interviews. So we had interview transcripts. Okay? And based on our initial coding of the transcripts, as well as what the theoretical literature on policy entrepreneurs told us we could expect to find, we selected 7 potential conditions that we hypothesized would be necessary or sufficient for becoming a policy entrepreneur. Okay. And these conditions included the race of the alum, their socioeconomic background, their placement in either a traditional school or a charter school, their sustained involvement in TFA. Did they continually engage with the organization for the decade after they completed their program, or did they pull away? Another condition was whether they attended a university-based traditional graduate school. Okay, as opposed to an alternative school where you can go through, I'm thinking of, where you can go through something that's not connected to a university, not necessarily research-based. So, for example, you could go through, I'm blanking right now, I'm thinking of all of these alternative credentialing or higher education programs. New leaders, some would offer up, which that wasn't traditional graduate training. Relay, for example, is a new alternative graduate school, but it's not connected to a traditional research university in New York. Okay, so that's another one. That was another condition that we hypothesized might be connected with their policy entrepreneurship. How many years they spent teaching? Did they only fulfill their 2-year commitment, or stay for a third, or did they stay for much longer? And did that affect this outcome? And then their perceptions of their experience in Teach for America. Were they positive about it, or were they negative about it? Okay, they tended to have in our sample fairly strong opinions one way or the other about their outcomes. So these were all the conditions that we hypothesized may either be necessary or sufficient to lead to them becoming a policy entrepreneur, essentially.